Good morning, church. I hope you are ready for the ride. Because we're climbing the mountain of faith today. You know, preaching in English is not my favorite things to do. But there is two things I like about preaching in English. One of them, that I don't need to worry about having or making jokes because you will be already joking about my language anyway. Secondly, I don't need to do a long introduction like the great speakers do, excused by my language, so I go ahead and just speak up directly wherever I want to speak, and I'm excused with that. You know, I don't know how many are ready to hear more about faith and about Abraham again. In the schedule, the only title about faith is my lesson, but everybody's speaking about faith since the beginning of the conference. I don't know what's wrong with that. So, if you like to take your quiet time, if you have a book you like to read, go ahead. I'm fine with that. Mountain of Hebron, the mountain of faith. Mountain of Moriah. Great mountains of faith the Bible talks about. And share with us great things that happened on these mountains. Let me show you some pictures of these two great mountain of faith. This is mountain of Hebron. This is the view you see through when you are on the top of mountain of Hebron. This is mountain of Moriah. These mountains witness the best and the great and the finest faith on earth. On these mountains, Abraham sacrificed his son, believing God will raise him up again. In this mountain too, God built in the same Moriah mountain, the same mountain that Abraham sacrificed his son, God built his temple, his house. In the same mountain where Abraham sacrificed his son, God himself sacrificed his son too. What great is that? This is our greatest mountains on earth that witness the best faith. But what is happening and what is built today on the same mountain? This is what built today. This is what's going on today on this mountain. The mountain of faith, the house of God, the place where God sacrificed his son. On the same place. This is what's today going on. Not just this, but this is too. It becomes the mountain of hatred, the mountain of blood and kills. This is the mountains of faith that we call mountains of faith in the past. You know, this is not my concern. It's not my concern what's happening back then home in these mountains today. But what concerns me and should concern every one of us is what is happening today in your mountain of faith. What is happening today and what's being built today in your mountain of faith. Is it the same mountain of faith that you used to have? Or this is many things being built on it. Built on it things that canceled all what you used to be proud of one day. This is the question we need to answer. This is the question we need to concern and worry about. What's on my mountain of faith going on today? Is it still the faith that I used to have or not? You know, faith has nothing to do with what's happened with you in the past. How great you were. Faith has nothing to do about your experience or your history or the great job or how many churches you planted in the past. Faith like water. You can be proud of, you can say, last week I drank a lot of water, I don't need water today. It does not work. No matter how many water you drink, how much water you drink before, you need it daily. That's why it's no matter how many churches you planted, it's no matter what is your history, it's no matter what is your past, it's matter where is your faith today. And that's the only thing that matters. That's why we need to ask ourselves, have we ever been living on the top of the mountain of faith? Or we always been living in the bottom of mountain of faith? Or maybe we are living on the mountain of somebody else's faith. We're just following somebody else's dream. Whether you've been having mountain of faith in the past, but you lost it. Or you've been never have this mountain of faith. Or you've been always living in the bottom of mountain of faith. Today what we're going to talk about, how to rebuild or build the mountain of faith from the beginning again to start living on the top of the mountain of faith. Let's open our Bible in Genesis 12. Verse 1. The Bible shows us two great men. They knew how to build their mountain of faith. One of them Abraham and one of them Caleb. Both of them, God gave them Hebron, the mountain of Hebron, as a gift, as a sign, as a symbol of their mountain of faith. In Genesis 12, verse 1. The Lord had said to Abraham, leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. First things, to be able to build your mountain of faith, you need, and I need, to learn how to listen carefully to God's voice. You know, guys, we do many things, but sometimes we miss the key of everything. First things, we need to learn how to listen carefully to God Himself personally when He's talking to us. You know, God has been always like and love talking to His people, especially His leaders. He talked to Abraham, He talked to Samuel, He talked to Paul, He talked to people, inspire them, give them missions, give them a dream, and send them by what they need exactly. But sometimes we miss this point. And we start looking for other inspiration in other places, more than looking and searching for our dream and our mission from God Himself when He talks to us. You know, reading a book could inspire me, but it will last, what, 2 hours after I finish my book? Until I catch the other book. You know, hearing a message is awesome. The Word of God will inspire us. But it will last for how long? 2 hours, 3 hours a day? Coming to great conference like this, it's a great inspiration. It really inspires us. But really, how long will it last? A week? But when you listen to God's mission, when you know how to listen to God, when God Himself talks to you, will last forever. You know, Abraham, after God talked to him, he stand up and kept walking thousands of miles. He never stopped until he reached God's dream for him. You know, when God talks to you, nothing else can distract you. When God talks to you, nothing else can matter. Who fall away, who comes, who left, the leaders came, the leaders left, no matter anymore. God Himself talks to me. Give me my dream, give me my mission, give me what I am today. You know, one of the great stories that ever happened, the story of mission team who came to Jordan to find a group of disciples who living as disciples, but they don't know really what to do. I was one of these disciples. We were 9 when the mission team came to Jordan. And many people, they know the story of this mission team, but none of you maybe knows or ever heard the other side of the story. And I don't have a long time to talk about it, but what I want to focus here, that our plan was, because we don't know what to do, we thought, let's go to the churches, the newborn churches, and teach them what we believe, and convert them, and take over their church. It sounds to me a good plan. So if we convert them, their church become our church, and we solve the problem. So we worked that for 2 years. In the end of 2 years, they almost kicked us out of the churches. And we were so confused and so frustrated and so struggling. Is that, God, what you really want us to do? And start doubting, God, are we right? Are we going against all the word and we right and they are wrong? God, we need you to show us. And we set up a plan. We said, okay, within 6 months, we need to hear from you, God. And if we are right, we want you to show us and establish a church officially in Jordan. And I remember we said what we need to do during the 6 months. And we asked my brother Simon to go to start mailing and sending letters to the San Diego church to find anybody who knows him to get some help. But after the 6 months almost over, nothing really happened. And the last week, I was sitting, want to prepare for the next family meeting, and I was thinking what I'm going to tell this group. What I'm going to tell them, like, God does not listen to us. God doesn't care about us. And I was praying, and with bitterness, praying all night, and talking to God. God, why? What do you want really from us? And I remember, like today, God talked to me and said, Mahar, no, I'm here with you. And before the end of the 6th month, you will have the church. Next day, I had the family meeting and I told them I was so fired up. So God talked to me. And God promised me that before the end of the 6th month, which is 5 days left, God will provide the church. They laughed, but they said, Amen. I said, okay, let's be prepared for that. And we knelt and we prayed and we confessed our sin and we cried. Next day, one of the disciples, one of the 9 called me and said, Mahar, do you remember I told you about one of my cousins? She's coming to Jordan with a mission team to start the church. I told him, yeah, I remember. What's up with that? So yesterday I met her in the family and she's a Church of Christ. She's part of the Church of Christ. I said, you know what? It's 12 midnight. Go to sleep because there's many churches of Christ. It's not necessary to be the same church we are. And we slept. Next day, afternoon, he brought her home. And we sit with her to find out that this is the same church that we are part of. She went, she brought the mission team to my home and they have meeting with us. They enjoy our meeting. And next day they invite us to their meeting, which is the second meeting they had in Jordan. We went Sunday to their service. Monday we sit together and we become one group and one church. When something like this happened to you, what can ever stop you? When something like this happened to you, what can anything destroy your inspiration and your dream and your mission in life? Nothing can shake you up. Are you seeking God to talk to you? Are you looking for God's words? What's God's mission to me? What's God's vision to me? Or you are following somebody else's dream? Because this guy, he went to the mission team, I should go to the mission team. Maybe this is not your mission. Maybe this is not your mission. In Acts, Paul was thinking that he's going to preach to the Jews. And he was so excited. And God told him, no. Leave immediately this place. I said, God, you don't understand. I'm Jewish. I know these people. I can't convert these people. No. Leave immediately. They won't accept your message. They will kill you. I'm sending you to Gentile. Wow. You can't follow somebody else's mission. You must search for your mission, your dream, because the only one who knows you and knows you well, he knows your weakness, he knows your strength, he knows your situation, he knows your country, he knows your people, he knows your church, he knows every details. He can give you the dream that fits exactly with your church. He can give you the mission that fits exactly with you. Stop searching for other people's mission. One of the things that I hate in my life, or in life, going to the gym. But you know, because I'm crossed the 40 years old. By the way, most of the men here are older than me. You need to learn this. Having more hair does not mean you're younger. It took me many years to try and convince my brother, who's 10 years older than me, that having hair, that does not mean that you are younger than me, but there's no hope for that. Every time we meet somebody new, he asks them, who do you think younger? And the disaster that everybody answer, that you, brother, that my brother is younger. So what's wrong with these people? I'm glad today we have Sean Wooten birthday, but he's 3 years older than me. But you have, after become like 25 years as a disciples, 20 years as in the ministry, 17 years married, with 3 kids, 2 of them teens, going to gym become a good idea. But what I hate more than going to the gym, to having to coach me in the gym. And I keep running away from them and keep following me. And I need one place without having somebody to tell me what to do. In the house, there's always somebody tell you what to do. In the church, there's 70 to tell you what to do. I need one place without anybody tell me what to do. So what I used to do, I go and find somebody with a lot of muscles. And look and watch him, and whatever he does, I does. And if I have question, I ask these guys with a lot of muscles. You know, they inspired me. I spent like a year like that. In the end of the year, I felt like there's no result at all. And all my effort is just for vain. So I decided to humble out and go to the trainer. I said, will you please help me? And now I understood why the trainer is different. Because first, he didn't go, oh, let's go, do this, do that. No. He take all my measures. My heart rate, my age, my situation. He know in details every single situation I'm in. And then he choose what's best for me, what's bring best result to me. Within 2 months, I had better results than a year. Guys, we're putting a lot of effort leading churches. We're running every day. We put a lot of work. But without seeking advice of the one who knows you well. You know, discipling is a great thing. Reading book is awesome. Going to conferences is amazing. But none of these should take place of God talking to you. Second point. We need to walk the long walk with God. Genesis 12:10, it says, now there was a famine in the land, and Abraham went down to Egypt to live there for a while because the famine was severe. There's a huge difference between belief and faith. Having faith means being faithful to what you believe. Belief is something very easy. I read a book, I believe in it. I listen to a message, I believe in what you're saying. It's easy to believe, but it's very hard to have faith. To put your life on the line because what you believe. This is a different story. Abraham, leave and go. He believed in God. He left, he went. But what did he find? A famine? What? You were talking about promised land. You were talking about the great things. You know where he was? He was in Haran. Haran is in the Furat, not in the Furat River. It's in Syria. It's the best land ever. You saw the mountain that he went to? Abraham couldn't believe where God took him. So in the beginning, he was so excited to arrive. He built a tower and worshiped God. And then famine started. So like, what? Maybe God meant in the south a little bit. Maybe I was reached a wrong area. Maybe God meant, let me go to the south. He started going to the south. In Israel, if you go to the south, it's even more desert. And he was like, what's really going on? Maybe God meant the promised land is Egypt. It's full of food. Let me go to Egypt. Maybe that's what God meant. But to enter Egypt, I believe in God. But to enter Egypt, I should, I can't put my life on the line here. I can't have faith. I believe, but it's hard to have faith here. I may die. So let's lie, small lie. Say you are my sister. Faith is something different. But faith born when you believe is being tested. When you get scared. When you start questioning what you believe. When you start wondering about what you believe. And then you start see God's hands interfere and show you that what you believe is true and right. And then your faith will raise up and you start to understand what does it mean to put your life and faith in God. So he put himself in a bad situation. And God pulled his hand in and take him out of this situation in a great way. And here, when Abraham's faith start building his mountain of faith. Start building, what does it mean to give my entire life to God? That was a very important test for Abraham. Very important stage for Abraham to start before the other things going to come. He starts raising his faith and understand God's power more than any time before. God has unlimited power. He got this idea now. Sometimes we put a lot of teaching in our churches. We put a lot of believing in our churches. We teach doctrines. We teach how people should, what people should believe. But we don't teach people how to have faith. Because believing, it's teaching. But faith is walking with God. That can only come by walking with God. Our church needs is faith. More than anything else. One of the sad things I felt last year, many churches were looking for ministers. So I was asking each one I meet, asking like, when you want to hire somebody, what you are looking for? Not because I'm looking for a job, but by the way, I never been fired and I never had cancer before, so. Yet. And what's amazed me, what's really hurts and cut my heart, that each one answer was like reading the same book. I'm looking for an experienced leaders. And somebody else said, I'm looking for somebody, there's a couple I like, they have a PhD in counseling. And the other like, you know what, I'm looking for a married couple, they have a good kids to help in the teen ministry. And none of them was searching for man with faith. When God was looking for somebody to fill Moses' place, which is a huge experience and dangerous place, he was not looking for somebody with experience. He was not looking for somebody with kids and with marriage counseling or with PhD or master degree. He said, I want Joshua because he's a man with a spirit. That was God looking for to fill Moses' place. What are you looking for to pull in your church? The church is like a garden. It's like your backyard house. No matter how much expensive the trees you have in your backyard, no matter how many trees you have, no matter how unique the trees you have in your backyard, if you don't have water to water in it, it's going to die. Having fresh faith in my church is like having water in my gardens. I don't want to say this because it's including me many times too, which is true. Having more experience sometimes means having less faith. And relying on my experience and my hand and my power and my wisdom. But my church needs faith and fresh faith. So my experienced people will continue to survive. Our old people, our experienced people, our old disciples are dying because of lack of faith in our churches. Because we're not pulling in new, fresh faith in our church. I'm going to jump to the last point. And we need to learn to build our mountain of faith. We need to learn how to give up what a love to us, what's important to us. In Genesis 22, read small verse. Sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, here I am. He replied. Then God said, take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love. I didn't put here word of sacrifice for a reason. First, because many people preach about it. No, just kidding. Because I don't believe in sacrifice. Because I don't understand how you're going to sacrifice something you don't own. And how you are owning something you don't control. This is something I'm really struggle with. Because if you think you own something, how come you don't control it? Because if you think you control anything, you're mistaken. We're controlling nothing. We don't control our health. We don't control our hair, obviously. Our brain send order to our body to lose some weight or burn some calories. But I can give order to my brain, my own brain and my head. Hey man, here, there. Lose some weight. Don't you see I'm getting some fat? I can't do that to my own brain. What do you think you can control? Even the house TV control, you can't control when your kids are around. And obviously you can't control your wife. So what do you think you're controlling? And if you can't control anything, so what do you think you own? A stock market? You can't control it either. What do you think control and own? So why we call it sacrifice? Why we call it sacrifice? It's not sacrifice. It is giving up things. We just give up. Things been with us for a long time. Like I'm giving you my son to stay with you for a year. After a year, I'm going to come and say, can you give me my son? No, I am sacrificing here. Excuse me, this is my son. We're just giving up something we don't own. Why it's so hard for us to do that? Abraham understood in the end that the promised land that God was talking about is not this. So it was so easy for him to give up anything because he knows God is different. What we really need to understand and know here, that God is not a thief. God is not a taker. Instead, in fact, God is a giver. Because he gives and gives and gives and gives and gives. God is not a thief. God is not a taker. And if he takes something from you just to fix it up and give it back to you, do you think Abraham and Isaac went back from the mountain the same people they went up? God just took him, fixed him, and gave him back to the problem. Because Isaac will never be the same kid after he saw what he saw. Don't be afraid to give up because God want to take it to fix it. Like my kids, when I ask him, he has a box to put some change in it. So bring me your box. He went, bring it. What do you want with it? Just give it to me. No, really, what do you want? Sometimes we do the same with our God. He doesn't want anything from you. He gives you everything. But you know where's the problem? And I'm going to close with this. The problem, the way we think and the way we present our God to our churches, to our family, and even to us. Even the books we read present God in a very wrong way. We present God like a God, a hungry of glory. We present God like he's the one, he created everything for his glory. And all what he wants from you, his glory. And you should do everything you do because I want my glory. This is how we preach about God. This is how we teach about God. But what would you feel if your son says, hey Dad, I don't really want to go to the university, but it's just for you, I go. You feel good. You feel like, oh, yeah, go with me, for me, go, for my glory, so I look good in front of many people. No. I want my kids to go to university because of his sake. I want my kids to eat because of his sake. I do whatever I do to my kids, I do it for his sake. Now, when he do it right, it will glorify me. But this is not the purpose. This is not why I'm asking him to do. I'm asking him to do because it's good. It's better because I want him to live better life. That's what Jesus said. I came, why? To give you life, and I came to give myself a glory. The way we present God If we are the sinful fathers and mothers, and we don't want anything from our kids except what's good for them, except being healthy and successful, and we are sinful and selfish, how come God, the Holy, all what He wants is His glory? Or He wants what's best for us? If we understand this concept, we will have no problem to sacrifice and give up anything to God. Because He won't ask it from me unless He knows this is better for me. Do you believe in this? In the end, I want to say, Abraham and Caleb, they built their own mountain of faith because they heard the dream from God Himself. They believe this is God's dream for me. They were willing to walk the long walk, struggle with what they believe until they built faith and trusted God. And in the end, they were willing to give up their life for that. They're willing to give up everything. In the end, Caleb said to Joshua, give me my mountain that God has promised me to give. Let's ask, let's beg for our mountain of faith. Let's pray for our mountain of faith. Let's beg God, give me my mountain of faith. Give me the mountain you promised that I want to live on the top of this mountain. I'm not going to live on somebody else's mountain. I'm not going to live in the mountain of faith. I want my own mountain of faith. God bless you.